Hey guys, Ryan Lutz here. Thanks for stopping by. Today I want to show you how I mount my GoPro onto my RC car. Now, ever since about 2 years ago when I made my first onboard video with the GoPro Hero 8 when it first came out, that video's gotten over 2 million views and people keep asking me every video I've made since then, how do you mount your GoPro? The reason I haven't made this video basically is because it's so simplistic. I feel like people in the comments are just going to be like, well, this way is much better, you should do it this way. I keep it simple. I have very little time at the races that I'm at to put this all together. It's kind of a last minute thing. Okay, I got one little practice round, I can go mount it up really quick. And that's what I do. It's for time saving, it's for ease of use, and these are the things that I've learned over the last 2 years of this camera flying off the car at 30 plus miles an hour, tumbling 50 plus feet. It keeps going, so I keep refining it, making it to where at this point now it pretty much stays on the car, and if anything I'm going to break my body before I break the camera or have it come loose. So first time I ever did this was at that Padova race in Italy. It was simply double-sided tape on the back of the mount, sat on the top. That track was super smooth, very smooth jumps, didn't have any abrupt landings, and it stayed on. It worked really well. I'm like, oh, this is easy. Next race I go to, a lot bigger jumps, a lot more harsh landings. This thing went flying. So at that time, I was actually putting holes in the body and zip tying around the mount. And that ended up tearing the body apart. So then I came across Gorilla Tape. This stuff's amazing, super strong. You make sure the body's clean, get rid of any fuel residue if you're running nitro, and in general, it's gonna hold it pretty well. So without further ado, let's go over how we mount. We're gonna do the GoPro Hero 11. So let's show that. Now, I like the helmet mount, generally the flat one. It's gonna depend on your body. So the Kyosho here has a nice flat roof line, which is perfect. The helmet flat mount will sit right on there. So maybe look between the helmet mount and the curved mount to see which one might fit the contours of your body better. Previous cars that I've had maybe like a ridge at the top where the flat mount wouldn't work. My previous car actually had to run this on my front windshield because that was the flattest place near the front. Some people run the GoPro in the back of the car. I don't like that view. I don't like seeing like the whole part of the car. I really like the front. It feels like you're just seeing the very front end. It's almost like you're in it. I like the perspective a lot better, and that's just how I've kept it. So what I do, I use, like I said, the helmet mount. I put it in, screw it on. Okay, before you tighten it all the way, make sure you can still articulate it just a little bit. You're gonna wanna position it. So what I do is I'll turn it on, and we'll get a view of it from behind it, and you get to check out the view that you're seeing with it. Now, I have really liked the super view. I like activity mode because this is an activity and there's not much more abusive you're gonna do to a GoPro than putting it on an RC car with all the vibrations, especially in off-road. So I like the activity mode, either 4K or 5.3K. The super view, I haven't really tried hyper view. It seems like it might distort a little bit too much, but between hyper and super view, those are the best two, I think. Then either 60 or 30 frames per second. I'm not technical, guys. I keep it really simple. I don't try to make anything super special. So anyways, I have it set up in super view with the 4K, set it on the roof line. It has to be a little bit off of center because the lens is a little bit left of center. And so I have it sitting right on the right edge of the body. I do it to where I can still see the shock towers, a tiny bit of the front of the body, and the tires would be in the shot as well. I feel like that gives you a cockpit view, makes you feel like you're in the car, and I really like that one. So once you have the angle that you need of the camera, then you're gonna wanna tighten this down as tight as you can get it. Now before I fully tighten it, I'll actually put a little bit of glue on this hinge. That's what's gonna keep it from falling forward or falling back when you crash or have a big landing. So you have to take that risk that you might damage it or might get stuck. To get it apart, sometimes I really have to pry it, but so far nothing's actually broke doing this. So I just put a little bit of glue on these hinges here, front and back, and then I will fully tighten it. And I will crank it down. So you really hear it. All right, so then we have the glue, we're tightened down. Then put on the double-sided tape. So just one layer of double-sided tape on the back. I didn't bring scissors. so we're gonna tear it. So then get the double-sided tape. And then one other thing that I forgot in here is your preparation for the GoPro. You're gonna wanna clean the surfaces that you're putting all this tape on. So on the lid, clean where you're gonna put it, around the outside of the lid, because this is where the Gorilla Tape's gonna go to really hold the body steady. And then on the side of the body, and on the bottom of your side guard here. So I'm just using straight simple green, brake cleaner, I don't know, any really good cleaning compound that you use on your RC car should be fine. You just wanna clean that surface so it has a good clean surface to attach to. All right, so then, once that's done, now you can take your tape, put the GoPro on. So again, it's off center, line it up, do it before you mount the body on so that way you can really push underneath and on top and get a pretty good seal from this. So that alone will hold on pretty good. Now some other little tricks I've learned along the way. Nemo Racing USA has these carbon fiber little body mount things, and putting those on first can kind of take up some of the gap and kind of support the body a little bit better as well. So anywhere I have the flat surface where I can set another one, I'll have one on the bottom, one on top to kind of sandwich the body pretty good. So then you gotta really press down to get the body clip on, which is good because that'll create some stability. And the rear of this body won't allow it, so I just have the bottom one. Okay, so then you can see right even there, you can almost pick it up, but the body still has that side-to-side wiggle. So then we take that awesome Gorilla Tape, and then for the sides of the body, I just take one piece, split it in two, and we just put it on the edge. So about 50% of it on the body, press down, then on the side guard. Okay. Now make sure if you can't reach your on-off switch that you do that and have it on before you put the tape on, because once you take the tape off, you kind of ruin its integrity of being able to hold on tight. Okay, so there we go. A little bit of tape on the sides. See how much steadier it is there. Now sometimes for extra safety, oops, probably got a camera in there. You can even double up that layer, kind of make it wider. Just don't be afraid to add a little bit more. Now it's just the wiggle of the body. But the GoPro has really good stability, and that's why I went with the GoPro. Basically, when the Hero 8 first came out, I didn't have really a GoPro before that. I saw the specs of it, I was like, I wonder if this will work in off-road, because prior to that, any video I'd seen with somebody trying something like this, it was just too shaky. It wasn't really watchable. You know, for a lot of people, it would make them sick watching it. I'm like, okay, this thing's claiming to have really, really good stability. Let's put it to the test. Nothing better than an RC car. And we did that, and then that was the video from Italy. And that's what started this whole thing. And they keep making cameras with more and more stability. Now we need the FPV form of RC to catch up with the stability aspect, and then the stability cameras like the GoPro to catch up with the FPV, so we can have zero latency, so then we can actually do FPV racing with these. That could be awesome in the future. But right now, the FPV cameras don't have the stability, and the cameras that actually have the stability don't have the zero latency. So, any tech heads out there that can get on that and make that happen for us, we would love it. So as you see, I'm just taking more and more Gorilla Tape, cut the strips in half, and then I'm just putting it all around, on the front, on the back, on the sides, and I'll do, 3 or 4 layers of strips worth. And then this is just what's stabilizing this to the car. Just make sure you get all the different angles that the GoPro might get hit and whatnot. And just remember that once you've done this, you risk damaging your body. People might land on you. I've had somebody land square on me and it dented the whole body in. That stuff could happen. So you can see now it's very strong, very stable, and that's it. That's how I mount it. It's ready to go, and then you can go have some fun. So stay tuned and we'll talk about the different GoPros and which one you might want to choose. Before you go, really quick, one thing I forgot to say is this GoPro has some weight to it, and quite a bit of the weight compared to this RC car. So what you want to do, what I do when I do mount it on the front part of the car, is I raise my front shock collar 3 turns, and that pretty much gives me the same ride height that I had before. The rear, you might have to raise half a turn, it's not as much, but raising that front ride height 2 to 3 turns is what will give you similar performance to what you're used to. You're going to really notice the top weight on a high bite track more than on a low bite track. On low bite, sometimes I almost feel like it makes the car better somehow. But on high bite, you really start to feel that rolling and that dumping action. The car will really start to roll a lot, especially on the front end. So make sure you raise that ride height to get the best performance you can out of having a camera on your car. All right, let's quickly go over the different GoPros that I have tried on my car. Now, the first thing you're going to notice as you look along here, we have the 8 is what I started with. I skipped the 9 because it was so similar to the 8. I didn't feel like it was worth it. Then I got the 10. It was a big advancement, supposedly, in the stability aspect. But as you can see, it also came at a cost for RC purposes, and that's the size. Size-wise, we were looking at a bigger footprint here. So it is wider by a decent margin, also thicker. And then the 11 still has the same case as the 10, so it wasn't a change in that regard. I just wanted more stability again. But we'll show you just on the weight. We got 123 grams here on the 8. Then you jump to the 10, and we're talking 153 grams. So we're 30 extra grams that you're adding, which is a lot when you're putting it really high on an RC car that's built for performance. And the 11's even just a tiny bit more. That could be the glue residue, I don't know. And then I've even tried the Max before. The Max is their 360 camera. It's got the dual lenses. You can see that's even heavier yet, 165. Now, the one time I tried this, it just failed on me, basically. Perhaps with a proper mount, it could work, but these lenses, they have that concaveness to them, and they scratched first time I ever ran it. So I do not recommend this for the RC purposes. However, these have been excellent. A couple tiny scratches here on the front of the 11. 10's got a little bit. The 8 I've ran the most, and it's amazingly still probably the clearest on the front. It's got the scratch on the back, but it still functions, and this thing's been through the ringer. I'll try to show some clips of that afterwards, some of the damage it's been through. But anyways, the 8 I think is even on sale right now for like 200 bucks at GoPro. And this is the first one I started with, and it is absolutely capable for your RC needs. So if you're afraid to spend too much and risk damaging it because you're throwing it on top of an RC car that you're going to crash, the 8's probably the way to go. If you just want a little bit more stability and don't mind a little bit extra weight, obviously the 10 and the 11 are advancements in the stability area. So guys, appreciate you watching. I hope this video was helpful in some regards for you, and I hope you can enjoy RC and get some awesome footage out there, and I look forward to watching it. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.